Yes, guys. Yes, guys. Welcome back to flatcapeurotalk, and we will be reviewing Dejan Kulusevski, the Swedish forward who plays currently for Juventus, as you may know. He did have a decent season last season, starting around 19 matches. I believe scored, I believe 3 goals and 4 assists in the league. Maybe had a few more. I believe something like 3 goals in the Coppa Italia, if I'm not mistaken, or the Champions League. I'm not sure, but it was in a cup competition. But he is someone that I actually do rate, and I would think it would not be a bad choice if you're kind of going for someone that can play across the forward line. He's born in Stockholm, Sweden, was born to Macedonian parents. So at one stage, he was actually eligible to play for North Macedonia. Born in 2000, 21 years old, 6 feet 1 inches tall, 1.86 meters. So he's a bit taller and lankier than maybe your average forward, especially for a winger. He can play right wing, left wing, and can play a striker. He did play striker at one stage for the Swedish national team over the Euros. His youth club includes IF Broma Pojgarna. I believe it's a youth club out of Western Stockholm. In fact, it's one of the largest youth clubs, or just kind of clubs for all ages in Europe. So I saw, or one of the largest, I believe, when it comes to clubs that have all ages of players. So, interesting little factoid there. Also played for Atalanta in his youth career at one stage. His market value stands around 27 million pounds, and his contract expires in 2025. But definitely interesting factoids there on Dejan. His 2020 2020-21 stats, I compared him on fbref.com to all forwards. So his key passes stood over 2 per 90, and that put him in the 90th percentile. He had over 3 progressive passes as well, and that puts him in the 86th percentile. Very good at doing passes into the penalty area with over 1 per 90, and that's pretty decent for a forward as well, with 96 or 92nd percentile. His shot creating actions, I think, is what really stands out at 4.4 per 90 at the 93rd percentile compared to all forwards in the Serie A. So he's a very good creator, and he has very good progressive carries with over 8 progressive carries per 90. That puts him in the 95th percentile there. And again, a progressive carry is just any sort of carry forward that's around 10 yards or more, which is, I think, a really good indication of a good dribbler. Good carries into the penalty area with nearly 2 per 90 there, and then also has a lot of touches in the attacking penalty area. And again, he played an attacking mid, can also play as a winger, and played a striker at certain stages as well. So it must be said that these are decent numbers considering he played an array of positions from last season. His attributes include the fact that he's a very good ball carrier and a very clever dribbler. I think he's a very clever player on the ball, especially with the ball to his feet. Very strong and can ride through challenges very well. I feel like he can take on lots of defenders in a very kind of apt way. I do really like his ability to kind of take on contact and still keep going. A very unselfish player at moments, especially what I saw in the Euros. He could be very unselfish with actually trying to create sometimes instead of shooting, but he is very, very deadly finisher. He has good aerials, especially considering for a winger. He has pretty good aerial win rate, and you wouldn't be surprised considering the fact that he is actually a tall player. He doesn't have a great win rate, excuse me, but he, from what I've seen from the seeing eye test, he is quite decent in the air sometimes, and he's a very hardworking player. In fact, has over, I believe, something like over near 3 tackles and interceptions per 90 for a very forward-thinking player. That is actually not bad. That's actually quite decent when you consider the fact that he is more of a forward than anything else, which means he works very hard off the ball, and he's very good under pressure, I must say, as well. But let's break down maybe the highlights here of Dusan. Again, someone that I would say we could take a look at. We are trying to maybe find a bit of competition for maybe Lucas on that right wing, as well as Sonny, on that left wing, maybe someone to help out Sonny. We're considering getting rid of Steven Bergvine, so I feel like this could be, really, really decent alternative. You can see his clever kind of dribbling here. He's a bit kind of erratic there in these moments, but look at the way he's just able to ride through challenges in such kind of an interesting way, and especially here, that's a beautiful ball in that probably someone should have been there for. And again, I really do like his actually dribbling ability. Absolutely skins these men here in such a decent way. And also look how brave he carries the ball as well. This is incredibly brave the way that he's doing it. And, absolutely opened up the play there. And just look at this. I mean, he is just, he is kind of a very funny, unorthodox kind of dribbler, I would say. Maybe that has to do with his height and his lankiness, but that's what I really, really enjoy about Dejan Kulusevski, I must say. And you can see definitely also there the hardworking nature of his. And it's very left-footed dominated. I haven't seen him really hit the ball too much with his right foot, from what I've seen, but he is a very left-footed dominated player, but certainly is very, very talented on his left foot, and could absolutely do well maybe on the right wing. I think maybe having him and potentially Brian Hill as the competition for the left wing and right wing is actually a great way to go about it because Dejan Kulusevski can probably offer a bit more finishing products. They're both extremely young. Uh, one comes from the Serie A, while one comes from La Liga, so they would need a bit of time to probably embed into the Premier League. But I feel like they are some of the highest rated youth products, in the entire Europe's top five leagues. Especially Brian Hill, when we got him at one stage, was rated as probably one of the best Spanish talents in his position. And you could probably say the same when it comes to Dejan Kulusevski in terms of his position, in terms of his age group. He is still regarded as probably one of the best in Serie A, if not Europe's top five leagues. And you could definitely see us going after this guy because he probably would have huge sell on value if he were to work out. Arsenal, I believe, are also very much interested in the player. So definitely somebody that I would say we should take a look at, maybe just to disappoint Arsenal. I would be very worried if they got him. I do really rate Dujan or Dejan or Dujan, excuse me. But I do really rate the player. Good right-footed finish there by the player, I must say. Definitely pretty decent. But I really do look at that clever dribbling and kind of balance there, and that should be an absolute goal there. Great setup by Dujan. It's actually Dejan. I keep going back and forth. It is Dejan. Having a little bit of a moment here. Great finish by Dejan. Wow, that is a brilliant pass. Great ball defeat there scenario. Plays a beautiful pass into Ronaldo. Well done by Ronaldo there. It's also a lot quicker as well. I think we all saw at one stage, him and Alexander Isak played together in the Swedish national team, and they actually were kind of a force to be reckoned with, those two, because they're both very creative sort of forwards, and they had great chemistry between each other. So he could, work quite well actually in a front two. If we like the 3-5-2, if you're a fan of that 3-5-2 that Antonio Conte has been deploying, you might probably go after Dujan because or Dejan because he would be a bit like Sonny in that regard, where he can play as a winger, but can also play up top alongside Harry Kane and help out Harry Kane, be that player that can run in behind, but also have a great touch and also great kind of a creative ability, very similar to Sonny in that regard. So he would be kind of a to like kind of competition with, I would say, Sonny, but also his left free tricky player. Since if you put him out on the left wing, he can just take it down the byline and put crosses in, but also be able to finish it with that strong side of his. But as you can tell from these highlight reels as well, he's very very good at cutting inside, very talented at cutting inside, and that's another part that I do like about him as well. But you can see his very left-footed dominated nature, which I think considering he is in the Premier League, I'd like to see a, a bit better of him using his right foot. But then again, that is kind of how the modern day footballer is sometimes these days. But as a striker, I think he could do very well alongside Harry Kane. That's why personally, and I've said this before, I think on the Irish Hotspur, if I were to spend potentially 70 million, 60 million, whatever big fee on a player, wouldn't really be on a forward. I think I would spend it more in the central midfield kind of positions to help out Skippy and Højbjerg and to potentially offload someone like a Tanguy or a Dele Alli or Gio Lo Celso. And so I would probably spend maybe then like a 20 million pound player, 30 million pound player, or probably a bit less than that on a forward. And I think Dejan Kulusevski would be a great example of that kind of bargain sort of signing, especially since he is one for the future. And we are kind of seemingly trying to plan out our squad like that. I feel like he would not be a bad signing by any means. Brilliant touch by the player there. And again, you can kind of see that strength that he has. I think that's what also could make him pretty decent for the Premier League, if you ask me, is that he has this kind of fantastic strength in certain areas and also presses really well, as you can tell. And, Andrea Pirlo's side last season was not really known for their pressing, and he actually still had pretty decent pressing numbers from what I could tell. And they were not a pressing side. So, I really do like, his work rate. I like his hardworking nature. I also like just his strength. I like the fact that he can ride through challenges and be kind of a bit more of a stronger winner, a stronger winger, excuse me, and a bit something that I would say just translates well into the Premier League. So you can see him tracking back here very well on Ashley Young. That's a great, great goal. Well done by the player there. Good finish by Emil Forsberg. Wow, great finish. Great finish. Oh, you love to see that celebration as well. Great finish against his former side, against his former club, Atalanta. He was on loan, I believe, last season at Parma at one stage, but as we said, his youth club was Atalanta. See, great ability there with having a defender on his back. Great ability to receive the ball in space, and also is good with ball to feet. Very good and unselfish pass there. Wins the ball back very high up the pitch there. Beautiful to see. Just look at his strength. Really, very strong player. Also, does not mind getting stuck in at all, as you can tell. Does not mind getting stuck in. Great touch. There's a bit of a heavy touch there in comparison. Now we're seeing more of the heavy touches, I must say. But yeah, I'm liking this work rate that we're seeing right now as well. Beautifully weighted pass. You have to finish that. There you go. Well done by Dejan. As you can see, is really good. Actually, this is funny. His ball recovery stats were actually quite impressive as well. So a lot of that's what I'm seeing here is he has great ball recoveries, especially high up the pitch. See him cutting inside there. And again, beautiful with his back to goal, with his back to the defender. Really good at receiving it in these sort of positions. Knows what to do with it as well as he receives it. So there it is, everybody. Dejan Kulusevski. I'm pretty convinced by the player. I've seen quite a lot of him, I must say, over in the Serie A and as well as for Sweden. I like the look of him. I think he is a very talented player. Let me know if you feel like we should go after him because we are in pole position to sign the player. Apparently, we are in like very intense talks. So I've been told, and so I've seen on Twitter that we are in keen position to sign the player. Obviously he was brought in by Fabio Paratici. So let me know what you think of this signing. I think it could be a very good one. He's very much has a lot of football ahead of him. Very, very talented player. Could be someone like, Brian Hill, where you got to give him a bit of time, but he could easily play as a backup striker. Could also play as a right wing, could play as a left wing. I think he's someone that we should take a look at, especially if you're not spending the big, big, big bucks on someone like Dusan Vlahovic. I think you go for Dejan Kulusevski as a bit of an alternative, and he can play across the forward line, which I think does help out the squad, at least when we're coming to, squad selection and, trying to figure out how to fill the team best. So everybody, let me know what you think of Dejan Kulusevski. Would you sign him for maybe around that 27 million pound, maybe 20 million pound mark? Do let me know down in the comments below. As always, please like, please subscribe, hit that notification bell to never miss another Scout Report.